So as you may have seen, it's Banlist season. It's not really a season. It's more of a emergency ban list with the recent announcement and following announcement of the current ban list regarding Nami, Curly the Dan, Marco, and Whitebeard. There's kind of a lot to analyze here. So first off, let's talk about why the ban list occurred, right? Looking over the tournament results for OP3 going into OP4 and the first couple of weeks of OP4, and there's a certain trend, right? The Eggman, he has a lot of videos covering all that, but you can see the trend of people were trying the different decks that were coming out in OP4, but they've realized, why try something new when it ain't broke, right? So people started going back to Law, to Zoro, to Whitebeard, and from there, they just kept being menaces in the meta right now, right? And so, coming from Bandai, they're just going, hey, maybe in order to push product, because, any TCG to make people buy more of their product, they kind of have to kill off a lot of the older sets, and that's what Yu-Gi-Oh does. And they're pretty good with ban lists, and usually they have it for maybe a quarter of the year, right? But in this case, for One Piece, it was just very sudden that they decided to do it very late into the OP4 season, right? I mean, I personally don't mind the hits that were made, even though VV kind of got hit. A lot of red decks just became pretty much useless without the Nami Searcher, because, fellas, let's just think about it. Nami was hella good. What about the other cards, right? Curly the Dan, that was for sure aimed towards Law players, because Law players, sometimes Whitebeard, sometimes Zoro would abuse Curly the Dan. It was just kind of funny to me that they hit two searchers, right? And then Whitebeard, that was very unexpected on their part, right? So now people see this ban list and they go, what the hell, what are you doing? Or they're just causing uprising. You can tell there was people who were happy about the ban list and people that were very, very upset. Now, why are they upset? Well, obviously, for one, they did just drop the ban list right in the middle of nowhere, and two, obviously hits their deck. So, going into the more, what's the most upcoming tournament? The tournament that's coming up, it's Pasadena from course TCG, because the ban list activates the day after, right? So people don't get that much practice in if they're going to. And the sucky thing that happens about that is that with the ban list being in play for core TCG, which is in a few days, players are not willing to no longer continue going to core TCG for the main event, right? And so I'm seeing a lot of people in the core TCG Discord, they're going, hey, I want a refund. I know ban list kind of fucking sucks. But yeah, that's just the thing. In my personal opinion, they should have seen the trends coming from OP3 going into OP4 and go, okay, cool, maybe we just implement this right away. That way people have time to test for regionals before OP5 and they get to kind of mess around and see what's going on. And then they should have looked at the Japanese results, right? Even though Red's pretty, people are dealing with Reds over there, right? I think it's just a different certain play style compared to the West. And because of that, they should have kind of taken the time to look between both metas and just go, okay, cool, what's our main goal? Originally, the main goal should just be, again, to push product, push OP4, push people to stop buying from these older sets. I feel like the only time they should allow decks to kind of come back is if they plan to do a reprint set. For example, Digimon had a reprint set not too long ago with Resurgence Booster or Resurgence Wind or whatever. And even though that reprint set came out pretty late, it helped, right? Because a lot of people wanted those memory boosters. There were specific cards people needed. It made the game more accessible. Now with One Piece, it's still a bit too early to kind of decide, hey, this needs a reprint, right? But I do feel sometime next year that there should be a reprint set for the game, because you can already see there's people collecting because they're fans of the series. There's people who are just trying to get into the game, but they can't because a lot of the cards that they need for their save for their favorite pirates. Like if people are law players, or if people are, fans of the Straw Hat Crew, they're going to need a lot of cards from the older sets, which are no longer in circulation. And on the third market, it's pretty much like really hard to get into. Now let's talk about the second announcement. The fact that they decided to, in my opinion, backpedal literally days after, not even days, just like a day and a half after they announced that the ban list is in effect for this week. Just said come December 5th when OP5 comes out, we're lifting the restrictions on we're lifting the restrictions because of the shift in meta, which to me it just sounds like backpedaling. They're just trying to save face because they see how many people were unsatisfied with this announcement of the ban list. With this, this backtracking just makes the company look so incompetent. Like, the only time we get emergency ban lists is if it's really that bad. And to be honest, even though playing against Zoro, Law, and Whitebeard were annoying, it was, for a lot of decks, it was not hard to kind of counter those decks, right? Sure, they were topping, but at the end of the day, it's like it's based off how each player plays a deck. The fact that it makes them look incompetent, right? I mean, no hard feelings on Bandai, right? With the card games, but the team in charge of the ban list, they should know if they're going to release the bans and restrictions on December 5th. What's going to do? It's going to screw over the third market, right? A lot of prices that are already tanking, they're probably going to go back up because, people either are going to go back to those three decks, or, they're going to find new cards to play with. I don't think it should have been lifted, honestly. It should have just stayed until the either like mid OP5 if they're just trying to do mid-season stuff, or just maybe even after OP5 or OP5 going into the new year, maybe lift it on January, right? Or after the card game fest, if they think it's such a problem to have Zoros, Laws, and Whitebeards dominating the game. Obviously, at set 5, they do believe it to be the power creep of the game, but I'm not sure if it's enough, right? Another issue, I just remembered too, because the 3 captains deck set comes out, and it comes with alt arts for Rush Zoro and the Nami Searcher, and it's just strange they also hit Nami. I know I'm kind of like going back and forth between the points, but that's just kind of like how confusing this move was for a player like myself to see, right, what Bandai's doing with the card game. Essentially, now they've kind of made that 3 captain set less effective. I'm not sure if they were planning to hit the reds, the red purple supernova cards like Law, Kid, and Lofi, but not being able to play full power with those 3 decks with the Nami, it kind of sucks, right? But I'm pretty sure they're gonna find ways to play the deck come when that series comes out, or when that set comes out. I personally love the game still, but I honestly wish the ban list, I wish the ban list was still in effect even after December 5th, because you're pushing people to try out new decks, right? You want people to buy the new product. You don't want people to kind of play the game but not buy new cards, right? You get what I mean? Sure, it comes with cool cards like Purple Luffy, Yellow Enel, the Revolutionary Army, Sakazuki, right? But if you lift the ban, I would not be surprised if we see another resurgence of Laws and Zoros and Whitebeards in the game, just because they're still pretty decent, even I think going into OP5. I just don't think that was a good move from Bandai. I think they should have stuck to their guns and said, we're not going to lift it after December. But it says something about the game, because it was a very reactionary post after the outburst from the people. But overall, I do hope we see more ban lists, because I love seeing ban lists. I see it in all the card games I play, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, which is pretty consistent, Magic the Gathering, Vanguard. Like the ban list just helps kind of keep the game alive. It's kind of like patch notes, right? It's like trying to fix out a bug or something that's OP, right? And that's the way you kind of got to think about ban lists instead of going, if there was one takeaway for all the players, just adapt. I don't think it's too much to ask. No need to kind of get in their business, threaten them. You know, it's One Piece, right? It's a game we all love. It's a series we all hold dear to our heart. And you know, it may be cliche, but Bandai, they're our nakamas, so we gotta treat them with the same respect that, you know, they give us as players. So whatever decision they do moving forward, I do hope it's for the better of the game. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right there and the bell. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about the ban list. I know this wasn't really a discussion. This is more of a rant from me. But I do hope that we can all just kind of come together, set our sails up, and raise our Jolly Rogers. I'll see you guys in the next one.